Once again, here's something that is entirely too long to fit in frame. And there's a good reason for that, because at its time, the Longstrike was the longest Nerf blaster ever made. And my gosh, is it a pretty blaster. It's one of the best designed, and at least aesthetically wise, blasters Nerf has ever made. Unfortunately, it's a reverse plungered piece of crap that barely hits Maverick levels of distance. But there's some ways around that. Very, very popular mod is to replace the internals with that of a Retaliator because they mesh well together. But you still have a lot of dead space and you're still not going to get any kind of insane levels of performance. Now, if I were to want to actually nerf snipe, what would I use? If you answered air power, you would be entirely correct, and a lot of people have done this type of mod. Now this one may look very familiar, and that's because it's literally a carbon copy of Nerfomania, or Nom's mod, of his Project Sniper 1. And oh my god, I have wanted to do this for so long! And this was a very, very testing of my patience build. I really don't think that the Lords above us wanted me to finish this build, because not only did it kill, for absolutely no reason at all, my scroll saw, it also killed my Dremel. And I had no way of going out and getting any replacement parts or getting any epoxy putty or anything like that, because it's been pissing down rain for days on end. But I somehow managed to cobble it together, and it does in fact work. I had most of the pieces already. Originally, I had scrapped a Berserker, and that's what this tank is right here. It is a Busby Berserker or Barbarian. I have both, and both tanks were identical to me. I did not see any differences right there. And I'm going to explain why this tank is amazing, besides the fact that it's basically a big blast tank and it's huge. But the other reason why is this right here. While it's not hooked up right, you can kind of see the hole right there. I drilled in there and tried to set that on there and it didn't work, but this actually makes it a lever. So instead of just pulling back on the pin, I'm actually just rotating a thing a little bit, which creates a lot of leverage on pulling that pin out itself. So with relatively small distance, I'm actually pulling the pin out a lot more than if I were to just straight pull it back, which gives me a very, very, very fast airflow release. So very, very nice to use the Berserker tank for this. A way easier mod, a much, much, much easier mod, is to just use a Blastzuka. You can still find Blastzukas in stores, and they still hit an incredible amount of power, and they're way easier to fit in here than it was to use this. It's also a lot cleaner, and you can even keep the breech and everything like that intact. So that's an idea. If you want to do something like this, you just have the pump handle sticking out the back, you have the tank in here, and there's actually a knob on the trigger that will, if you sand it down the right way, and it's very just slope it the other direction, when you pull it back, it will push up on the button and release the air, so you're good to go in that regard. That's a very, very easy way of doing it, but I wanted to do this one. And, well, since I had to have a lot more room, I couldn't use the original breech, so I had to make a brass breech. Not something I've done a whole lot of, but I still had the parts because I planned on doing it. And so, there's our brass breech, and it's going to be impossible to see, but that is a brass breech with a Rangemaster or Orion bolt, and that was literally, I didn't even have to take the Rangemaster apart. I didn't have to cut it or anything. There's a pin that holds this onto the Rangemaster. I just walked out there with a hammer and a screwdriver, knocked it out, and I epoxied and epoxy puttied it on there, and it actually does lock in place. And then this is designed to make it go flat and pull down. So I have done some thinking, although it's not as pretty as I would like it to be. Up here are two pieces of Lexan. These are here to reinforce up here and also to keep the tank from moving forward. This also is supposed to be for the lever right here to rest on, but I had some issues using that because I'm an idiot and I'm just kind of cobbling things together as I go. You will notice there's a magazine in here. This is intentional, for if I release the magazine, it holds extra darts. Yep. That's all it's really for, is holding extra darts. So if I pull that open, and this is really hard to do backwards, put a dart in there, close that, and then if we go back here, we've got your actual dart storage, which you just pull a dart out of there and load it in there, and then your pump. I tried to use a strong arm slide for this, and it was incredibly difficult. I even cut out a piece of Lexan, but to like guide the strong arm slide, and it just didn't work. So as I was going through this, I kind of started to realize why Nom did things the way he did. This is just a PVC-T, and this is a piece of CPVC. This is there because the original tank I was going to use was broken, and the actual, during traveling, I had lost the actual pump. So I had another broken tank that I opened up that unfortunately the tank checks valve was completely dead, so it wouldn't hold air at all. But I still had the tip of the plunger, the pump handle in there. So I just took the tip and I cut a slot in it, put this in it, and it holds in there just fine. So this is now pumping the, well, here's the pump right here, and then here's the tank right here, and then of course that trigger right there. So, just like Nom's, this is completely disassemblable. If I do that, you can see right here that this is in fact the breech opening right there, and the bolt does come right out. So, this will give you a better idea of what's going on right here. None of this is glued. In fact, if I pull hard enough, this will come out. And this is just a piece, this is the original part in there that meshes with the original barrel, basically. And I just wrapped the brass in there until it was snug, and then wrapped that in tape in again, it has to be done in 2 different parts so it doesn't wiggle, and I shoved that in there. And once it's in there, it's locked. It's not going to go anywhere, so I don't have to glue anything together. So this thing will come completely apart if I want it to. This is 1732 brass. If you didn't already know, 1732 brass is really, really nice because it fits Nerf darts pretty much perfectly. Let's get one of those out. It's a very snug fit, but it does work. And I tried to make this to where I didn't have to put it in there so much. It's meant to just go like that. And the breech does accept full-length elite darts, although I will assure you, it is not meant for full-length elite darts at all. These are garbage. These are absolutely horrible. What this will be used for is going to be used for slightly cut down accurate darts that you can find on Amazon or on eBay, and those are going to be much, much better. So that's the idea, but the breech being long enough is just so it can accept full-size darts if I so choose. And it's very easy to put them in there. And then, of course, the bolt slides over that and creates a perfect seal, which is nice. And this is not pretty, but I had to do something to get it on there. It is not easy epoxying things and making it secure to brass. And other than that, we got the rest of the blaster right here. And, well, it punches hard. Insanely hard. I don't have the right darts, although it does go through an Amazon box and apparently won't go through a Kirkland milk box, which is a shame. But it does put elite darts through some cardboard. And with the right darts, something, you know, with not such a... These heads are made so they don't, like, hurt children. Something with a full tip, it will easily penetrate cardboard and leave welts and hurt like hell. And in fact, these would already leave welts, but something with a solider tip would actually deal some pretty incredible damage. So, I have a couple of these, if you saw my collection video, and this is what I'm going to use one of them for. It's not finished at all. I still have to paint it and all that kind of stuff. But I might just, I might let somebody else paint it. I'm throwing the idea around that I just might let somebody else paint it and have their fun with it, and I'll just do the internals, because this was a really, really fun blaster to put together. It works fine. It took me a while to get it to work fine, but it does, in fact, come on, it does, in fact, actually work. So, hey, there's that. And while it does need some TLC because I did not have the right parts, what I really want is for this to sit up just a little bit more so the breech is a little straighter. It still works fine. Basically, I got it to a functional level. If I were to have a Nerf war tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to use this thing. Again, would I want to use elite darts? No, because they wouldn't be able to hit anything. But hey, there's that. There is the Berserk Long Strike. And now I have to put this back together, even though my freaking tape right there came apart. Oh, it still worked. There we go. And then my lovely bolt, which I spent so much time working on. But yeah, that is the Berserk Long Strike, and this is going to be probably my primary for my back, and then the crossbolt will be my primary for my hip, and then of course I'll have my secondary as well, which will probably be something that's a shotgun or shoots way faster to counteract these two blasters right here. Because this is a very, very slow firing blaster, but in a Nerf war, I only need one dart to hit. So if I'm actually doing something that isn't HVZ, this would work fine. And even if I wanted to just poke zombies at long range during HVZ, this would especially work. It's more of a support blaster than anything, but hey. It was a lot of fun to make, and I encourage you to go out and try to make your own, because it honestly wasn't that difficult, and the more you work on it, the more you kind of see why Nom did the way he did things. Although I would honestly recommend just doing the Blastzuka route, because, well, Berserkers are hard to come by, and Blastzukas are way easier to integrate. In fact, it would have made my job a hell of a lot easier for the price of some power. But if you want to snipe, air power is the way to go, and the Blastzuka is probably going to be your one chance right now. So you might want to pick a couple up before they disappear anyway. Thank you very much for watching. What would you do this? And actually, give me some ideas for a paint job for this thing. I have a couple ideas, and let's see if we can't figure out something better to do with it. And oh my gosh, I've scuffed it up so much with the Dremel working on it. It's too bad. It's had a hard life. But it works. But give me some ideas for paint jobs for it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.